Have you ever watched the evening news and just felt like all the chaos, the conflicts, the natural disasters? What if it wasn't random? What if it was all part of a story written thousands of years ago? Well, today we're diving into the worldview of a group known as the Council of Elders. They believe that's exactly what's happening, that we're seeing specific prophesied signs of the end of days play out right now. Okay, so this is the core of it right here. This piece of scripture. For the elders, this isn't just some old poetic verse. No, it's the very lens through which they see everything that's happening in the world today. They're convinced we aren't just reading about some distant future, we're literally watching it unfold in real time.
All right, so the first category of signs they point to isn't up in the heavens, it's happening right beneath our feet. They argue that all these recent geological events aren't just natural cycles. They're clear, urgent warnings coming from the Earth itself.
And they get very specific. Get this. They kick things off with the number 52. That's how many volcanoes they claim are erupting at the exact same time across the globe. Now, for the elders, this is no coincidence. It's a huge sign of immense pressure building up, both literally and, figuratively. And then things get even more specific. Their focus zooms in on a single event at Yellowstone. They believe a pretty significant earthquake hit a really critical area there, but that this crucial information was basically swept under the rug and hidden from the public. So why would they hide this? Well, according to the elders, it all comes down to control. They argue that authorities are actively covering up the true scale of what's going on, which creates this dangerous vacuum of information and stops people from understanding the very real risks. Okay, so we've looked at the Earth. Now let's zoom out to the global stage. The elders look at today's headlines, all the conflicts and tensions, and they see something much, much older playing out. They see ancient prophecies being fulfilled right before our eyes. This specific passage from the Bible, for them, it's basically a roadmap. Looking through this lens, every international crisis, every border dispute, it's no longer just a political issue. It becomes a necessary step on the path toward a foretold conclusion. For the elders, the conflict in Ukraine is a perfect example. This isn't just some modern geopolitical event. They see prophecy in the massive troop movements, the deployment of brand new technologies like robot armies, and even in the shifting alliances. It's all tangible proof in their eyes of rumors of war becoming a terrifying reality. And this slide really gets to the heart of their political analysis. They see things this way. On the left, under one administration, potential adversaries were kept in check. But on the right, under another, they believe a projection of weakness on the world stage has made those same adversaries much more bold. So based on that, they've laid out this whole domino effect scenario that they're worried about. It's a very specific chain of events. First, a coordinated two-front attack that would stretch American military power to its breaking point. This, in turn, creates a power vacuum that, in their view, leaves a key ally, Israel, just dangerously exposed.
All right, and this next part is honestly where things get really fascinating. It's all about how they connect these ancient texts to our super modern high-tech world. They believe the prophets weren't just seeing the future, they were seeing our technology and just trying their best to describe it thousands of years ago.
So they start by tackling this classic theological question, this puzzle, really. For centuries, people have wondered, how could a single event like the return of Christ be seen by every single person on a round planet all at the same time? It just seemed physically impossible. And their answer is a total game changer. It all revolves around reinterpreting one single word, cloud. They argued the scripture wasn't talking about a literal, fluffy cloud of water vapor. No. They believe it was a prophetic vision of the internet cloud, the only technology we have that could pull off a global broadcast that allows every eye to see. And once you accept that idea, well, the whole book of Revelation opens up in a new way for them. They see the wild visions in there not as pure metaphor, but as the honest attempt of a first-century guy trying to describe things he had absolutely no words for. Everything from modern warfare to social media and even UFOs. And it's not just Revelation. They apply this same logic to other mysteries in the Bible. They look at the prophet Ezekiel's incredibly complex vision of a wheel within a wheel and see something they find unmistakable, a pretty clear description of a flying saucer, maybe even complete with landing gear. Okay, so if those are UFOs, who's flying them? This leads to another really key part of their beliefs. The elders, they don't even use the word aliens. They call them angelics. In their worldview, these beings aren't random visitors from other planets. They're part of a divine fleet, the Lord's fleet, piloting the ships we see in our skies. So you have the signs from the Earth, the signs from world politics, the signs from technology, and for the elders, it's all building towards one final, massive climactic event. They call it the Great Harvest, and they see it as the ultimate separation of all humanity. To get your head around this, they point to the biblical parable of the wheat and the tares. They believe humanity is going to be divided into two distinct groups. You have the wheat, who are the righteous and will be saved, and then you have the tares, or weeds, who will be gathered up for destruction. And for the elders, this isn't just a nice story, it's a literal instruction manual for what's coming. They believe that angelic fleet isn't on its way. It's already here, just waiting for the command to begin this final harvest and gather the wheat into the barn. So the elders' worldview really ties everything together, from volcanoes to global conflicts to the internet, into one single cohesive story. And it leaves us with this final thought to chew on. How would you see the world differently if you truly believed you weren't just watching the news, but watching a prophecy come true?